Okay, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus in the morning, 15 minutes. Inyanah Toras Chassidus. After Parak Tesavav, this shir is sponsored in honor of the bar mitzvah, like a real Neach Willem by his father, Levi Willem. He should have a lot of nachas, Chassidus and Yiddish nachas, so his child should be a real Chassid, Yerushalayim Lamdan, and for our first lema for Chaim David, Rafael ben Sarah, Tim ben Sarah, and Chaim Baruch Lezer ben Rasa, Esther. Okay, so we were discussing yesterday in Yudalad, the haChassidus adds light to the parish of Meida'ani in regards to the drush, that through understanding that the reward of the mitzvah, that the purpose of the mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. And the reward of the mitzvah is the mitzvah itself. And therefore, some of the mitzvah is not just to help a person, a pikadon, out that he doesn't lose by lending, but it's that he doesn't have that, but it's that you get to feel the ratzon the Eibishter. The Eibishter has a ratzon in every mitzvah, even a mitzvah that has mishpatim, that has some logic behind it, that you could use it. That's not the reason why the mitzvah is there. It's because really it's the ratzon the Eibishter, it's Hashem's will. That's what Hashem wants. And also Hashem also wants us to connect it with some seichel that it has. But once you see it that way, then it's totally a different experience. Because if you learn it without the Chassidus, so then seemingly the comparison of the drush to the simple taich, it doesn't really work together. Because why? Because Hashem gives back in the neshama. Why would we just be so willing to give something back, even though we're losing out from this? It doesn't make sense. Why would we want to be losing out? So we're not losing out because you get to do the mitzvah of the Eibishter. And now we're going to explain how it works with the Kabbalah, and how Chassidus adds to the Kabbalah. And then tomorrow, Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to see how the explanation of Chassidus, how it really connects all of these pirushim. So now we've explained the pirushim of Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Seid according to their simple explanation. Now we're explaining the Pshat according with the light of Chassidus, and how Chassidus adds a whole deep dimension to it in the Pshat, the Remez, and the Drush and the Seid, with today's the Seid. And then tomorrow we're going to explain how Chassidus not just it adds to each level, but really connects all the levels. Beautiful idea. So let's see. Tesvav. So in regards to the Yisod, the Kabbalah Meida'ani, so what's the simple explanation of Meida'ani according to Yisod? Perush, the Kabbalah, Shemelech HaVekayim. The Kabbalah explains what does it mean, Melech HaVekayim, a king that is alive and lives and exists. Hu Sfiras HaMalchus, Kamoishim Yuchedis in Sfiras Yisod. It's the Sfira of Malchus as it is united with the level of Yisod. Meaning, from that level, from the uniting of Yisod with Malchus, and the Neshama comes back. So besides the fact that Chassidus comes in and gives explanations to understand this, which is what we explained in the beginning of this whole kuntrus, that we said that Chassidus, that some people think Chassidus comes to explain Kabbalah. So he says, besides the fact that it does also come and explain Kabbalah, like everything in Kabbalah, Chassidus, it explains it. Kanal Saif Sif Aleph. Hine, it's furthermore, Sha'al Yedei Habeir, Chassidus, through the explanation of Chassidus, Nirgash Teuchenei Hapnimi, Shel Haperush, V'chai ha'inyan b'ofen ach legamre. But through Chassidus, not just the fact that he gives explanations to understand it, but Chassidus adds a whole life, a whole depth to it, to the idea, as we're going to see. Now let's understand Meida'ani, the Kabbalah of Meida'ani according to Chassidus. So Sfiras HaMalchus, Malchus is united with Yisod, with Zah. Yeah. With Zah. Sfiras HaMalchus hi b'chinas l'likus. Hashayachas Elam. Malchus is a way to understand Malchus in simple English is godliness that's relatable to the world. It's how godliness interacts with this world. That's why it comes from Malchus. And it's connected with Malchus, has a relationship with Malchus. And together with that, it's connection to time and space. Malchus is connected with time and space. What's you said? It's totally above relationship with the world, and therefore above time and space. Therefore, every attribute that's above Malchus, there's no concept of time and space above Malchus. And through these levels that are above time and space being revealed, time becomes nullified from their existence at all. It can't exist. Time and space can't exist when it comes to these levels. So the idea of the connection, the unity of Malchus with Yesod is revelation of the infinite light, which is above world, which is the level of a Likus, godliness that's included in the world. So what we're saying, we're taking this level of Yesod, of Zah, that's above the world, and we're bringing it into Malchus, which is connected to the world. That's how you have the neshama come back. But the neshama that's what it's bringing. When neshama goes up in Shemayim, when you go to sleep, neshama goes up. You take it and you bring it back down, and you make this chiddush. Now, in the simple Kabbalah, it's hard to understand this. But when you come to what we explained before about how the world exists, re-exists from something to from nothing to something, we understand this. And that's what Chassidus is showing us. Again, with haChassidus, it's Zar Malchus. What does that mean? It's confusing because he's saying it's how you connect something that's above time and space within time and space. What does that mean? How's it going? But Chassidus explains. But really, B'etzem, we're talking about, just like we understood before, talking about Yesh Ma'ayin, that the world exists from real somethingness to nothingness. That real somethingness is not that real nothingness is not a nothing. It's really a likus. But what we can receive from that or appreciate and recognize is that it's nothingness because we're finite. We're in Malchus. And so neshama coming back is Yesh Ma'ayin, taking the neshama and bring it into this body. That's what he's going to explain. And this, that the coming back of the neshama is coming from this level of Melech HaVekayim, like we explained. The neshama coming back every morning. This is like the idea of something new. Can also be given, like I was saying before in Yud Gimel, which was about Tchias HaMesim that we discussed. The Chassidish Shetayt Meirani of the Remez. The haChassidus Yesh Ma'ayin even though this novelty of something from nothing, I think recreated every morning and every moment, even though it's coming in actuality from the level of Malchus, because on the high levels of Malchus, but above Malchus, you don't have a yesh. This feeling of an existence separated from godliness can only happen in Malchus. But nevertheless, the ability that Malchus has to make something that's nothing into a metzius, it's specifically from the infinite light that's coming into Malchus, which is totally higher and above any relationship to the world. You have to have something way above to be able to do something so extreme. Therefore, automatically, therefore, this level of Ein Sof is not in the category of ayin and yesh, something and nothing. And none of those exist in that level. And that's why it's able to take what isn't and make it is. Something that doesn't exist and make it exist. Whereas Malchus by itself, without this connection with Ein Sof, it's limited to these things, and it can't make something that's nothing something, and it can't make yesh ma'ayin. So this ability that Malchus can create a yesh ma'ayin is not coming from Malchus itself, because Malchus itself is limited in time and space. But it's coming from Ein Sof. V'hakara zoi ba la'adam mitzad b'chinas yichida bay. And how does this happen? It's coming from this yichida. There's really two ideas in this. One, Aleph, Hakara, Ba'atzus, or Ein Sof, the recognition of Ein Sof, if Sharius Rak, Mitzad Bechina Zu Shel Neshama Michedes B'Atzmus Yitbarach, the connection and the recognition of this level of Ein Sof is only from the level of Atzmus within ourselves. Whereas the lower four levels, Shayachim Hu L'Bechinas L'Kus Sheba'Elamis, is connected to the godliness that's within worlds. So that's why it has to come from the level of the Yechidah, which is the Etzem, like we've been talking about until now, the Chassidus. And base, Gam Amitis HaHakara, Be'HaChassidus, the Yesh Ma'ayin, the true recognition of the Yesh Ma'ayin, Sheyakir, Lo'ak Sheyavin, not that you'll understand, but you'll recognize. What's the difference between recognize and understanding? Understanding means intellectually understand it. Yakir, you see it. It's a totally different, different experience. I can understand an intellectual level that smoking is bad, but yakir is I recognize smoking is bad. You feel it. It's a totally different experience. So the ability to be able to feel the yesh ma'ayin she'ein shum and sinas makom lahayesh mitzad atzmai, meaning that the yesh, the feeling of existence by itself, has no real existence. V'chol mitziyus, and its whole existence is hu mechudash malkus, is being brought into existence from godliness, from the ayin. Hamachricha she'achidus ba me'atzas Ein Sof, which has to be coming from Ein Sof. Ba mitzad b'chinas achidus, and this is specifically to Yechidah, because Yechidah is totally above all these levels. And now, Sif Yud Gimel. So really, in a certain sense, the Kabbalah is very much like the level, like the discussion we had with Ches HaMesim, according to the Chassidus. But the essential point we're saying here, just to summarize, that Melech Chai V'Kayim, which we said is the Sod with Malchus, how to bring these two levels together. It's specifically, without Chassidus, it's very confusing. So Chassidus comes to explain that what does it mean? It means that really Malchus is limited in time and space. Malchus is godliness interacting with godliness as it interacts with the world. And the level above it is totally above the interaction of the world. And through coming from a higher level, so to speak, Atzmus, Ein Sof, which is like we're talking about the Yechidah, that gives the ability that to be able to bring down into Malchus, unite these two levels above time and space, in time and space. And that's what the Chassidus brings. Tomorrow, so we'll explain what we're going to do tomorrow, and then we're gonna come and give a little practical example, something to live by. So tomorrow we're going to explain to Zayin how all these explanations we gave, they're all really connected. And it shows this unity that Chassidus brings, and not just Chassidus adds a whole different dimension. And it brings out the essence of the idea, and that it makes the idea so much more alive, so much more vibrant. In addition to that, Chassidus also connects everything. That all these different ways of learning Torah, and the Rebbe did this a lot. You take a different pirushim on the Torah, and they're all coming from the same place, all connected. So different pirushim are made ani, even though one pirush is the pshat, the simple meaning, and the remez, and the hint, and the drush, and what is expanded, and what's Kabbalah talking about. So seemingly you could say there's different ways of understanding this pasuk. But the Rebbe is going to show us how really all these different ways are really all together connected. They're not different explanation. They all add from each other, they all connect. And how does this happen? Like I said before, from the Chassidus, from the Yechidah, because Chassidus is talking about the essence of the idea, and that essence of the idea expresses up in everything. So it's beautiful. So just a few takeaways. First of all, to appreciate what Chassidus is and what Chassidus is doing. Chassidus touched another explanation, as we explained in the beginning. Chassidus is the essence of everything, and look what Chassidus does. It gives a whole new dimension to everything. That you can learn everything the way it is, and then you can learn it with Chassidus. Even Kabbalah, without Chassidus, it's confusing. With Chassidus, it's a whole different experience. That's first of all. Also, we have to recognize, like we talked about a few days ago, about this Inyan Yesh Ma'ayin. We have to recognize that this whole world exists because of the fact that Hashem is making it exist right now. And so therefore, what happened in the past doesn't exist. Like there's a famous story about these Chassidim came, I think it was maybe Shavuos, and they had a chartered flight home, and the Rebbe made a surprise for bringing for these guests that had come. And, the time was ticking, and the plane, was getting close to the time of travel, and people were stressing out. And the Rebbe could notice on the people at the ring, the Chassidim, how they're like stressing out. So the Rebbe said, what do you have to worry about? The plane hasn't even been created. The plane doesn't even exist yet. What does it mean the plane doesn't exist yet? It's because of everything, Yesh Ma'ayin, and at this moment, that plane is not been created. The plane that's going to take you back to wherever you're going from hasn't been created yet. because every moment is being recreated. And so therefore, what am I stressed about what happened in the past, what's going to happen in the future? To live in the moment. Because right now, what is this? What exists is this moment. This moment is in and of itself, its own separate thing. To be continued tomorrow.